Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first launch mastermind. We're hoping to have this at least once a year. So plan on coming back again next year and the year after. The purpose of this was just as a group, we just wanted to continue to give you more valuable tips, business practices that you guys can put in place. It's always good to hear what other people are doing or how they're doing that. And that way you can incorporate that in yourself and how you do your business, increase your business, get better production, get better business practices that help you. So that's the purpose of today. We do have a jam-packed hour and a quarter. We're going to hear about some ninja sharing and what's been put in place for that. We're also going to hear from two of our 2021 Rookies of the Year, which they were in the exact same spot that you guys were, those of you that are brand new, or those who have been in for a year. So it'll be great to hear what they did, how they struggled in some areas, but how they overcame that, and the business practices that they put in place to help them be successful. So make sure as you're going through this that just keep a pad and pencil there, take some notes down, make sure that you're writing down any questions, because after the rookies share, we're going to have a good 15 to 20 minutes, guys, where you can just ask them specific questions. Ask them how they would handle something, ask them what they did in a certain circumstance so that they can help to help you in your business. Like I said, the trainers are going to be on as well. They're going to continue to answer any questions that you might have as we go through the program. And then they're going to give you some additional resources at the end, just again, as you're continuing to move. Because in launch, we can only give you the foundational practices. Those of you that have been in the business for a year or so, like Lori just said, there's always so much to learn. That you're just continually learning something. In real estate, it's never boring because it's always changing, which is a good thing, but that means that you do have to continue with your education and continue with that. So we want to be able to still stand beside you guys, next to you, and help you to continue to grow. So they're also going to give you a couple of resources. But before we get started, I just wanted to show a couple slides. I like this one from Matthew Ferreira. Success in real estate starts with you believing that you are worthy of it, meaning you can do it. Anyone successful in the real estate business was, like I said, in the exact same place at one time that you are. They all started off new. It's hard to imagine when you look at some of the real estate icons in our company that are just rocking it and have been rocking it for years, or now a team leader of that. They were once a brand new agent, just like you were. Struggling, prospecting, this, that, learning the business. No one comes into this business knowing the business. So don't get frustrated that you don't have all the answers, because that's okay. You can still be successful as you go through. If you dedicate your time, you're consistent, and you're diligent, you too will also find your niche and your strengths and can become successful just like they were. I want you to make sure you remember that. Also, remember, selling is not selling, it's providing. And the key to providing is knowing in advance what to provide. As we learn in Ninja and everything else, it's all about your what? Your mindset. We joked about getting up in the morning and making your bed, but literally it's getting that mindset first thing in the morning. And whatever you tell yourself, that's pretty much how the day is going to go, right? If you think it's not going to go well, it's not. But if you think it is, then it will. And you know, we've picked such a great career and a great industry. Those of you that have had settlements and you sat at the table and you handed over keys to someone who's a first-time home buyer, and they've been renters this whole time, and now they've jumped and now are homeowners, that is such an awesome feeling, right? You hand them those keys, knowing that you helped them accomplish that is really an awesome feeling. Or helping someone to sell their large home because they're going to downsize to move closer to family or grandchildren, or another reason, or go somewhere warm. But either way, they have a need and you're willing to provide what it is that they need. Real estate also is the art of becoming a valuable advisor. Again, not a salesperson. Remember, it's providing the need. You're learning, you're listening to what their needs are, and you're providing them. You also need to remember that you are you. And I know sometimes as a new agent, you struggle with, I don't know all the answers. Am I going to be able to help them? What if I don't know what to do? I think you need to know that that's okay. You haven't been in the business 25 years, but again, those icons, they were new at one time. They didn't have all the answers all the time either. So if you can remember that and remember that you are unique, don't try to be somebody else. There's that old saying that if you're trying to be someone else, you're just going to be a bad version of that person. Just be you. You guys are unique. You have your unique value proposition, whatever that may be, and bring that to the table. Bring that mindset, that enthusiasm, that diligence, that communication, that negotiation, whatever your unique value proposition is, get that together, get that solid, and bring that to the table. And know that you are you and you are valuable and you can be that advisor. And again, no one can go back and make a brand new start. Anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending. So if you haven't had the success you thought, or that you wanted to have your first year or your first year and a half or a couple months, guess what? That's okay. You can't go back 6 months or a year ago, but today you can make brand new changes and put things into effect to change the direction and to move the needle more forward to where you need to be. So listen to what the ninja has to say, what Shirley has to say, what the rookies of the year have to say, and take that and make that part of you and what you provide and put those systems in place so that you too can be successful going forward. So I know it's really hard in the beginning. It's a brand new career, a brand new industry. People need to know that when they think of real estate, they need to think of you first, and that takes some time. So don't give up. If you're struggling, just put in place, be diligent and consistent, and you too can really be successful. And remember, we're always here for you. We're always here to help you and help you grow and provide what we can going forward. So, being that we just talked about systems, if that's a great segue into our next part, which is Chuck Yeager talking about Ninja.
Oh, is that me? No. Hi, everybody. Some of you I saw yesterday. I recognize you, so nice to see you back again. Many of you I probably saw for an earlier date. But anyway, I just wanted to take the opportunity just to talk to you a little bit about what Ninja is and what it's for. You go through launch, and then you are kind of introduced to me. And what we do in launch is just kind of give you the short version of Ninja at this point. So I do want to remind everybody that the full version of Ninja starts again the first week in May. So I think you were sent an email invitation yesterday. Make sure you sign up because it's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, just to give you an idea, if you haven't taken the full Ninja yet or whatever, what is Ninja? The most important thing you need to know is that it's a complete system. Although we don't like to use the word sell, it's a complete selling system. So it's from soup to nuts, from beginning to end. And the cool thing about a system is, as with Ninja, a system is very user-friendly. And trust me, there's no rocket science about Ninja. It's just simple practices that make sense. So it's very, very user-friendly to do. And the cool thing is it's documented. So I have a workbook for every section of it. We hand it to you. Very simple to follow. And the cool thing also is that it's been around long enough. And I kind of explained that when doing the class, but it's been around long enough out in Fort Collins, Colorado, that we can give you some predictable results. If you follow the Ninja system, these are some of the things that we know happens. So it's a really cool system. It's a little bit different, you're going to find, than some of the things we go through this every time, some of the things you learn in launch. But again, it has a philosophy of its own. We work on your mindset, as Patty had talked about a little bit, and knowing that you can take this business wherever you want to take it. So it's 4 days. First day is your mindset. It's called the Ninja Path, and it's really the subset of everything else, where we kind of set you on the right track and set you down the road to be successful using the Ninja selling system. And then the second week, we go through growing your business. And that's all about prospecting and lead generation. So we take you through that. And again, there's a process for every one of these different days and different approaches. So we give you a process to use that is going to help you build your database, find leads, and gain them through all the abundance that's there that you just don't realize you have. Okay. The third week is all about the seller. So as a ninja, we have a process we use from beginning to end: meet a seller, close a seller, and how that works in between, and what are the processes we use. And I think what we find a lot is that your clients are going to be really pleased because of the fact that you actually have a process. And you can actually tell them, this is how I work. This is what we're going to do. This is what you can expect when you work with me, rather than, working just willy-nilly and haphazard without a real process. And the fourth week is the buyer. So it's all about the buyer process, beginning to end. So during those processes, we give you, where you start, where you go next. We believe in question-based selling. So everything is ask questions, listen. You don't know what they need unless you ask. You need to be a good listener. And, they just know that you care about them and that you understand where they're going when you work that way. 4 different unique, I don't know if they're totally unique, but unique in the sense that this is what we focus on in Ninja. So just to give you an idea, number 1, nothing new, but it's about building relationships. Look, you guys know by now, it's all about the relationship, and it's a relationship business. So, one of the things that I always say is, and it's not my saying, but one of the things that's always said is, he with the best, or he or she with the best relationship wins. Simple as that. Like I said to you guys yesterday, when we talked, everybody knows like 10 real estate agents. So why are they going to work with you? And that's the whole thing. It's the relationship. You want your relationship to be so unique and so absolutely rock solid and beautiful that it's you they think of. The next principle is that we're very customer centric. We listen to the customers. Like I said, it's question based. It's called Socratic Selling from Socrates. He discovered way back that the more questions you ask, the more information you get. The more information you get, the better you can help your client. So we, as a ninja, ask a lot of questions. We don't call it a presentation. We call it a consultation. You shouldn't be doing most of the talking. You should be asking questions, and they should be talking to you. So you're going to find a lot of what their needs are and how you can help them. The next one is, I mentioned this just a little bit ago, is belief in abundance. You have to believe. I know that somebody mentioned earlier that one of the things that's one of your main focuses is getting clients, prospecting and things like that. Well, in Ninja, we give you a system. We tell you exactly where to go within the Foxroach tools and things like that, and how you can touch base with your clients and how often you should. But we also believe in abundance. And by abundance, I mean simply that there's abundance, regardless of the market. There's an abundance of opportunity out there for you, but we just have to show you where to go to find it. And those are some of the things we'll focus on in Ninja. Where do you go to find the clients that are out there? Because we all have a fair abundance of them. We just don't know, when we're new, exactly where to go to find them and begin your relationship. So we work on that. And the last thing is, in the process of listening and adding value and making it about them and not about you. Remember, very customer centric. You'll hear me say over and over again in Ninja, it's not about you, it's all about them. So in the process of doing that, what we do is we're able to help them achieve their goals. We don't believe you're selling anything. That's not what we're there to do. We're not there to sell them a home. We're not necessarily there to sell their home. Sure, that's part of it. But what you're there to do is to help them achieve their goals, whatever it is they need as far as real estate goes. So those are four very unique principles. So we also believe it's all about value. We'll go through how you can create value. When you create value, you differentiate yourself from others. So it's very much, when we talk about all four of those days, how in working with a buyer and working with a seller, can we be different than everyone else? Okay, because that's the view of us that most of the consumer has out there, that we're a commodity and we're all the same. So in Ninja, we want to teach you how you can be different. There are so many things that you have at your fingertips right now because of being with this company, that we'll go through them and point everything out that you can do to make yourself be different and add value. All right. So I think that's pretty much where I wanted to go. I know I only have a few short minutes, but I want to end with two things, and I'm going to read them just because I want to get them right. But I want to read two things. We end day one in Ninja talking about the Ninja laws of selling. And there's two of them that I think if you think about, you really hit home. First off, before I go there, I want to say one thing. And I know you guys that were on yesterday, you're thinking, okay, I heard this yesterday, but there is a quote that is my favorite, probably my favorite quote of everything in Ninja. And believe it or not, they're in the news right now. Walt Disney made the quote. And the quote is, do what you do so well, they'll want to see it again and bring their friends. Think about that. Just sit back and think about it. I know he's talking about Disney World, but it's you. Do what you do so well that they'll want to come back to you the next time and they'll want to give you all the referrals you need. You don't have to ask for them. They'll give them to you because they know your value, your worth, your trustworthiness, your credibility, all that stuff. So anyway, the two laws I want to end with. Number one, the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you receive in payment. Think it over. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you receive in payment. It's about giving. And the last one is the law of compensation. And it's so true. Your income in real estate will be determined simply, well, it's not really simple, but by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. And that takes you right back to the Disney Club. So thanks for your time. And I know next we're going to have Shirley Lang, who is also a trainer, but I think I can say a pretty big advocator of Ninja. She uses it in her business on a daily basis. So we wanted to have her give you an idea of how this all helps her. Shirley.
Sorry, I needed to unmute. Can
There
you
we
believe
go.
we're still saying that after almost 2 years of Zoom? Anyway, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us. We're super excited to see so many faces and newer agents too who are joining us. And it is really a scary process, you know, when you begin. And I was looking at our agenda and I thought, Chuck has 3 minutes and I have 7. Wow. So I'm going to talk really fast. But very seriously, when I was jotting down some notes as Patty was talking, because I can jump right into what I do, but I'm going to do that at the end of my 7 minutes. I'm going to tell you that in the beginning, it's really hard to believe and trust in the system. And I want to tell you a little bit, you know, because I came from somewhere else. I had 2 years there. I'm only in the business 7 years. So I've been 5 years with Berkshire Hathaway, and the years I've been with Berkshire Hathaway, not just this brand, but also this training group, these folks that help us each and every day, our managers, the whole support system that we have, and the way they teach us the ninja way, and they teach us other ways. You know, you've heard of other systems that we all use as well. But I want you to know that the first and foremost thing that you want to get yourself into is the right mindset. When Patty was talking about that, I wanted to add to that what we do every day, and it might sound woo-woo, and I don't care how you do it, but we start with affirmations. And if you don't have one, find one. There's a couple of people on here that are in my Monday Jumpstart meetings, and you guys know how I'm always talking about positive thinking, motivation, and mindset, because each and every day we get up and this is a hard business. So when you want to talk about working on things each and every day, it's your mindset. I wanted to give you just a quick example of when I got here, and I had Judy Murray at the time. I guess she was VP of recruiting, and my manager. I mean, when Judy started the meeting off with, let's just take a moment to be grateful. I was sitting there, not like I'm not a grateful person, but what? You know, that was really very interesting from a real estate environment for me, and then coming from somewhere else. So please, that's number one. The other thing that we do each and every day is we show up. You know, this sounds so rote and so basic, but we really, really do. And I expect that of my team. So when I started, it was just me. I grew by adding a buyer's agent first, and there's all kinds of talk about that. We can talk about that on a Jumpstart meeting. But the point is this, you know, I never dreamt I'd have a team of 2 other agents plus myself and a full-time assistant who's on salary. So when I left a company making, you know, a nice salary, I thought, well, I'm going to easily replace that. So I want you guys to know that we all come from different places. I came from having no money that I was not taking from my family to grow this business. And I made $9,000 that first year. And that's kind of a joke when you think about it, like, oh my gosh. But if you're in the right mindset and you're showing up every day to do business, do your lead generation activities. I don't, you know, my agents know, I don't even want to hear about it. If you're not showing up, looking like you're ready for work. I mean, no, everybody is different, so we're not all comfortable on Zoom, but as real estate agents, every single one of you should be here in video, you know, like show up, right? So that's one of the other things that we do. Another thing that we absolutely do that I'm piggybacking off of what Patty was talking about is being a valuable advisor. You know, I always say if know your audience, but if it's, you know, somebody that can relate to the sports aspect of it, I always say, listen, I'm your quarterback. I'm the one who's going to help you get that ball from here to there. And you are that single point of contact. They look to you to be their knowledge, their resources, their calming person. You know, you've got to play all those, you have to wear all those hats so that you can be a valuable advisor to them. You're the project manager. That's it in a nutshell. And that's what we're ready to do. Every day we write notes. And if the agents don't write notes on my team, they better be doing something else that's lead gen. And so that is absolutely either a face-to-face, writing a note, or scheduling some sort of, you know, sometimes it's just a phone call, but it's scheduling a phone call that actually is going to be talking about real estate. You need to bring something valuable. And so during Ninja, you're going to learn all about how to do that, you know, how to make those calls and how to be genuine, because that's the other thing. You know, you're balancing, we're being transparent. Our folks all know that we are selling real estate, that we want to list their homes and we want to sell homes. But the balance is that what Chuck was saying is that we're not just pushing that. We're actually giving that value. We're teaching them how to be, you know, we're teaching our agents, and we are trying to make sure that we're teaching our folks to lean in on us for anything real estate related. So it might be before they are transacting with us. during the transaction and long after any transaction. And some of our folks we've never done business with, so to speak, but there are spokespeople. They're the ones who are advertising for us and also are the ones who are getting us referrals. The brand new start, I wanted to share that. I love that because that is part of the process. You know, you're going to focus on writing notes, making phone calls, bringing value. That's what we do every day. And that's the way you can start over again. Every day you can start over again because there's many days where we fall. You know, I always say at the end of the day, geez, I cannot believe how much stuff we didn't do today. But rather focus on all the stuff you got done. And if you do one lead gen activity, you make one phone call that's valuable to connect with your database, that's what's going to get you business. And believe in abundance. You know, man, Chuck, when you said that, I had to write it down because there's two kinds of people. We've learned it. There's books on it. You can look it up yourself. You either come from a place of abundance or you come from a place of scarcity, and you can't help it. That's how you were raised. That's your non-conscious brain, whatever. But the point is, if you're not a person who already comes to the table with your glass half full, you do want to make sure that you're working on coming from a place of abundance, like Chuck was saying, because you have to think each and every day, today I'm going to get a new client. Today I'm going to take a listing. Today I'm going to add somebody to my database. Today I'm going to change someone's life because I called them. Because you don't know, especially post-COVID, how hard it's been for people. I've actually had someone say, oh my God, you made my day. I've been depressed for a week. They don't even know you're supposed to be calling them, right? You just call because you care. And so I could go on and on and on. Did I run out of time, Patty? I don't know where I'm at now. When Chuck was talking about, you know, it's the way we say it is showing is better than telling. So that's what we're always doing. We want to make sure that we're taking a market analysis. That's what we're doing right now to get business. Right now, while inventory is low, we are literally hand delivering in an envelope with my handwriting on it. Sometimes I write a big note on it, whatever. If it's not somebody you know, you're taking it because you want that house. You want to take that listing sometime soon. However you're structuring your lead generation, that you are bringing something of value, like Chuck was saying, but showing is better than telling. And then the other thing is, you know, when he said you're letting them do all the talking, because that's what's really hard for us. I mean, listen to me, I do this every Monday. All I do is talk. But the bottom line is when you're in front of your client, you want to let them talk and you're listening. And then you already know how to calm their fears because they're going to be saying that to you and you're reading between the lines. So when you learn the ninja way, you're going to really, really understand how you can trust in the system, how you can do this each and every day, and how, you know, we all have bad days, but for the most part, every day ends up being a really good day for you. And I promise, call me, talk to me anytime, jump on Mondays. You know, I'll help you every minute of the day.
Thank you so much, Shirley. That was amazing. My name is Eileen Bickhart, and I do administration with the training department. And thank you so much, Shirley. That was wonderful. And Chuck, we've got a great start to this meeting. I just want to introduce our rookies of the year. We have two that have joined us, Jessie Sippa. And Jessie comes to us from Ocean City, New Jersey. She's in the 9th Street office. And she graduated from Launch in 2021. Her background, when she started, she had no background in real estate, but did have marketing and advertising experience. Her business was booming, and then COVID hit. And then she jumped into real estate. What a crazy time to jump into real estate. She took the 2-week course to get her license. And I'm hoping that she will talk to you about what she attributes her success to and what in Launch was helpful. I also want to tell you that after Jessie speaks, we're going to meet David Justice. David comes to us from his Cherry Hill sales office. He graduated from Launch in July of 2020. His background was in car sales and the Army. So he's going to talk to us about how what he attributes his success to, as well as what in launch was helpful. So Jesse, I was hoping that you could unmute yourself first and talk to us a little bit about how you became successful so quickly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessie Sippa from the Ocean City office. First, let me say, David, thank you for your service. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I think that's amazing that you served our country. And how to segue from there. To follow up after someone who served is really hard. But I just wanted to say that I had worked for 12 years in the gaming and luxury retail industries, and I was always sort of obsessed with real estate. Like my husband would be like, "What are you doing on your phone?" And I'm like, "I'm on realtor.com." And he's like, "Why? We have a house. Like, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just curious what's for sale in our neighborhood, what's going on." And I mean, I would spend like every commercial break, endless amounts of time just looking at real estate. I don't know, always obsessed with it. And I always talked about getting my license, but funny enough, people would talk me out of it. My mom would always be like, someone's going to steal you and murder you and put you in a trunk. And then my husband was the other argument. He was like, you know, you have a guaranteed paycheck in your job. Why would you go into something that's not guaranteed? And I would always be like, but the possibilities are endless. And he'd be like, nope, stick with what you're doing. You're successful, just stay with it. And so, working most recently in sports betting and launching the BetMGM app for Borgata in the state of New Jersey. When the pandemic hit and sports suddenly stopped, the company that I was working for laid off probably half to 75% of its employees and went to like a bare bones skeleton crew. Funny because now those industries are booming again, but I was like, what am I going to do? It's a pandemic. I'm not going to be able to get a job. And my husband was like, why don't you go get your real estate license? You always wanted to. So that is how I'm here today. I went and as Eileen said, did a 2-week course. You learn nothing in the course that helps you with selling houses, by the way. Everything that I learned that has helped me become a success, I learned in launch and in my office, just really absorbing stuff from the experienced agents that are there. I decided to take launch right away because in the very beginning, you know, I didn't have clients. So I filled my time with launch and following what all the trainers were telling us to do. And then when I wasn't in launch classes, I would go into the office and I would sit with my office manager, Nicole. And it was interesting because I started with about 8 other people at the exact same time. Yet I think there were only 2 of us in launch at the time. And I noticed that some of the other new agents weren't coming into the office, weren't sitting with Nicole as much. So I think that's one of the first things that's really important to say is that you can't wait for people to ask you, you know, what you need or what you need to learn. You need to go and just absorb everything you can and ask to sit with people. If you can't sit with your manager, try and find an agent who's experienced who might have a little extra time to show you something. And don't be afraid to ask them questions when you have questions about things. Some of the things that I did, Nicole, included I started just making test contracts and zip forms and sort of filling out each of the forms that were in there with fake information. And then I would print them and take them to her and say, could you read this and let me know what I did wrong or what part I might have forgotten to do or what addendum I should have included with this sort of sale. And I tried to do a couple different scenarios. I did listing, I did buyers, I tried to do lead-based paint. So like an older home, a newer home. And then the other thing that I asked her to do was, could I sit and put a real sale of hers into DTR? Because while they show you DTR in launch, I'm the type of person who learns by doing instead of like just sitting and watching. So I watched it in launch, but then I was like, I need to do this before I do my own. And Nicole was gracious enough to have me come into her computer, and she sat right next to me, and I put all the different documents where they needed to be and submitted them for her. And I did that a few times before I actually felt like confident to do my own deal. The other thing that I did with Nicole was I shadowed her at an open house before I did any open houses of my own. And I'm pretty outgoing, so I only did this once. So really just whatever your comfort level is with that, but I would definitely at least shadow someone once. Some of the things that she told me that I would have never really thought about is like she always sets up inside before she puts her signs out. And then at the end, she takes her signs in before she cleans up inside. Because that way, if you have a straggler walking through, you still have everything set up inside. The house is still ready to show, even if you're pulling your signs down. And I can't tell you how many times in Ocean City, someone sees me taking my signs down and goes, "Oh, can I come in real quick?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, come in with me right now. It's ready to go." You know, you never want to turn anybody away. Which is a great segue into some of the things that I've been doing that led me to my success in my first year. Is I started with doing as many open houses as I can, and I'm still going strong with that. I try to do open houses every single weekend. I try to do them both Saturdays and Sundays. Ocean City is a weekend town. Like, it's not really advantageous for me to do them midweek because we just don't have people there right now midweek. But I would say that if you're in an area that has workers and you can catch commuters on the way home or maybe on their lunch break, trying open houses any day, anytime you can. And I do open houses that are not my listings. So this is a big one for you, is like try to make friends with those big agents in your office who have so many listings they can't do them themselves. So I started doing open houses and in fact got my first client from my very first open house. So it really does work. I always stay late if it's busy. And here's my biggest thing from open houses. I always follow up with everyone who came through, even if they tell me, "Oh, I have an agent. I have an agent. Oh, I don't need help. I have an agent." I had a client last year who came to one of my open houses and did that whole song and dance, was like, "I don't even need you to bring me on a tour. I have an agent. I'm just going to look around." And I still got their contact information. I used the old COVID trick. I was like, "Well, because of COVID, I really need your contact information." And it worked. He wrote it down. I followed up with him, not like a press to sell, just said, "If you have any questions about the house, just please, let me know." Well, about 2 weeks later, he calls me and he's like, "I had to fire my agent. They weren't getting anything accomplished for me. You were so much more on it that day, and following up with me right away. And I would like you to represent me in finding a home." And so that really taught me a big lesson, is like how important it really is just to follow up with everyone, because you really just don't know what the future is going to bring. The other thing besides open houses that I really do a lot of is cold calling people. And I know this is a big sticking point for agents. Experienced agents hate cold calling people. New agents hate cold calling people, but you have to do it. What's the worst? They hang up. I mean, or they don't answer and you leave a message and they never call you back. But I try to focus my cold calling on prospecting hotspots, like somewhere where a house just went with multiple offers, and calling every owner on that block and seeing if they are aware that the house went over ask and, or have they thought about selling. And the other thing that I've had a lot of success with is converting for sale by owners. So for sale by owners are very interesting because you know that they already want to sell. And they usually have something, that's a nice way to put this, unique about their personality that has led them to make the choice to for sale by owner. And so a lot of them will hang up on you because they're like, "I don't want an agent. This is why I'm for sale by owner." Click, fine. But you will catch someone who just doesn't realize like everything an agent will do for them. And I was able to convert a couple of for sale by owners last year into listings. One was my first listing, and my first and second listing were both for sale by owners. I'm really excited to share with you that one of them ended up being a cash investor who I sold her property and then helped her buy 3 new properties with the profits from the sale of that property. So one cold call to one for sale by owner led to 4 transactions. Sure, I probably called 100 for sale by owners last year and I converted 2. But like, if I add up the time it took and the fact that I was able to get all those transactions out of it, it's worth it. The other really big thing that I do is I'm a firm believer in handwritten note cards. And they talk about this in launch, but I also just believe in it from my marketing experience before getting involved in real estate. What do you do with something that comes in the mail? Every real estate agent sends those postcards, right, that say just sold. I throw them away, right in the trash they go. I don't even look at what house they sold. This is before I was in real estate. Now after I'm just like right in the trash. I see something with handwriting on it, like a handwritten address, I will open it up no matter who it's from, because I'm like, what is this? Is this an invitation? Like, what am I missing? There's something important here. So I try to write 10 handwritten cards a day. It really hurts my hand. We're so used to computers nowadays, but I try to commit myself to 10 a day. Some days I might not get to it, but I really try to focus on this. And I do it sort of similar to the cold calling, where I'll focus on blocks where I might have just sold a house or brought a buyer. And then the other thing that I started focusing on is, recently I started getting really angry every time a house in my neighborhood was listed and it was not my listing. And I do not live in Ocean City. I live inland a little bit. And my husband goes, well, how do they even know you're an agent? Like, you know, some of our immediate neighbors know because I obviously told them. But like on the couple streets over, because my neighborhood's kind of large, you know, people don't know. And so I was like, you're right. So I started focusing on my neighborhood. And I actually am really happy to say, because this is like a newer thing I embarked on, that I got a listing out of it already. And it's funny enough, my neighbor that lives directly behind me, and they tried to sell their house last year, had no luck. The house needed a lot of work, still does, but I was able to list it higher than the agent did last year and get it under contract for over asking. So they're really happy with me, which is great. And now it's a great story for me to tell in my neighborhood. So when I write to my neighbors in the handwritten note cards, one of the things that I'm famous for in my neighborhood is walking my dogs 3 times a day. I mean, people make fun of me. My neighbors are like, I think your dog's had enough walks. So in the card, I say, you may see me walking my 2 little white dogs, but did you know I'm a real estate agent? And then I like kind of get into a couple of things. And I try to keep it light, and like, you could call me for anything, whether it's borrowing sugar or selling your house. Like, try to always keep it light. And then just a couple other things here. Obviously, with a marketing background, the importance of your own brand, developing a logo, getting a great headshot, you know, focusing on your social media content and doing CRM. I use Ace to send a monthly newsletter, and I always write like a personal, it's almost like my real estate diary to my clients. And it's so funny because I have people, one of my husband's coworkers is on my email list. And he went to my husband and he's like, I just love reading Jesse's monthly letters. They're so endearing. And I didn't even think like he was looking, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just kind of funny, the feedback from that. So all of this stuff is important because you just don't know where a client's going to come from. I got clients last year who called me because they liked my headshot. And at first that sounded weird to me. I was like, I hope they're really who they say they are. And it was funny because Kevin in training said one of the people on his team had gotten a client from their headshot, and like everybody was like, oh, no, that's not true. But then I swear it happened. And it was this sweet couple that had just moved here from North Carolina, and they live in Philadelphia, and they were asking where's a good place to buy an investment property, and people said Ocean City. They Googled Ocean City, somehow got to the Berkshire Hathaway website, and she said that my picture just looked the friendliest. And I was like, okay, like, I'll take it. I will take a client however I can get one. So your brand and your headshots and paying to have professional headshots is very important. And then just 2 last things. One is treat every deal as a luxury deal. I treat every client, whether they're buying a 1-bedroom studio condo to a $1 million beach house, the exact same. because you know what? The paperwork's all the same. Everything we have to do on our back end is the same. And you want that person to refer you to everyone else. You want to get a 5-star review from them. So you just treat everybody the same. That for sale by owner that I called that turned into 4 transactions, I would have never known, and she would have never used me. I mean, she sold real estate her whole life, and she ended up becoming one of my best clients so far. And she said, you know, you're new, but she's like, all the years I've been investing in real estate, I've never had an agent that took the time or cared as much as you do. And that really like hit home with me. And so I just try to apply that same amount of care and love to every one of my clients. And then my last thing is, you are your own advocate. You cannot wait for people to bring you business. You can't wait for people to hold your hand, and you can't wait for people to guess what it is you need help with. If you need help with something, ask your manager, ask another agent, ask one of us, your trainers, anybody. They're always there for you. And we are one big team as Berkshire Hathaway. And I mean, people probably get sick of me asking questions, but I go around the office asking about a million questions a day. And you just can't be afraid. Like you learn so much because everybody gives you different tidbits of information. So congratulations to all of you for embarking on this, and turn it over to David.
Jesse, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. You said so much. I was scribbling it all down. So I hope I got it all, but thank you. And you know that don't be afraid. That's something that both you and David have in common. Both of you reached out to your manager, your team leaders, and that's something that both of you talked about. So David, I was hoping that you could unmute yourself and share your stories with us.
Can everybody hear me? I appreciate you guys inviting me on here. It's crazy to be invited to things like this because I was in everybody's shoe, I guess, a little less than 2 years ago. Like I said, my background, Army and a little retail, and then also in car sales with my most recent, career. The reason why I got into business was, which everybody's gonna have the same response everybody does, is I was originally in Alaska for living there for 3 years. And when I got out the military, everybody thinks everybody's gonna want to hire me. I'm Mr. G.I. Joe. I'm a great person. Everybody's gonna want to hire me. And it was really tough to get a job, and I was really depressed for a while. It wasn't that long, but for me it was, because I was just raised with a job. So staying with my wife now, but girlfriend at the time, and I was trying to get a car, and the guy was, let's say a shady guy, and he told me how he just got the job, and I was like, if this guy can get the job, I can get the job. So I applied to every car dealership in Alaska, and Toyota, Honda, all the ones I thought would get, disapproved me, but Mercedes gave me a shot, and I loved it. I loved the brand. I love selling. Fast forward, I moved over here, and I started working at Subaru. I loved it, but the problem was I didn't like the atmosphere. I didn't like having to beg people not to leave and wait, I got one more pencil, let me talk to my manager. I didn't like that hardcore selling. I liked the relationship thing. And that's why I always was number one, number two in car sales, is because people came to me because I was a friendly face. I would tell them, exactly what I could do, what I couldn't do. And when I was at Mercedes, I loved the car. I didn't have a Mercedes. So people felt the passion when I was there telling them, I love this car. This is why, not because I'm trying to make money. So what happened was pandemic hit. It wasn't, we weren't on lockdown yet, but it was starting to affect things a little bit. And I had to follow my job. I didn't feel like my manager at the time was, I treat everybody with respect. There's no reason whatsoever. And I felt disrespected. My wife was telling me to leave for months. And I just had a moment where I said, I'm leaving and I'm going to go do real estate. This is what I want to do the last 2 years. So, and the funny thing is, 2 days later, the government shutdown happened. Everybody got furloughed. Everybody got sent home. But I didn't know that at the time. And I quit. I did a 2-week course. I said, I'm going to do it right now. And government shut down, so I couldn't take my test for 3 months. So I had to retain the information, DoorDash, all these different things. But once June came around, I was really, excited. And that's when I got into launch. And I will say, I don't know how many people are like this on the call, but for me, One thing a term I love is go-getter, and that's what I am. If I'm in, I'm in. So a lot of things that Lance taught me, I already knew. Those 3 months, I didn't sit around and do anything. I was on YouTube. I was reading every real estate book. I was talking to real estate agents. I was talking to people I knew. So a lot of stuff I already was ready to go. I got my license on a Thursday, and I had my first client on Saturday, and I had something on contract on Monday. I moved really fast. But what Lance really helped me for was the things that I didn't prepare for, and that was that client ended up getting divorced. So that deal did not go through. And I went through a drought of not understanding how to build an actual business where you have consistent leads and not relying on just one client at a time. Chuck was on the call, Chuck Yeager. I don't remember everybody from lunch, but I do remember him. He was really, Ninja Training was awesome. I still have my binder. I still have there's like a little list of lead type of ways you can get on there, ways to touch your client 14 times a year. So I think everybody will get something different out of launch. Some people need more, need to know every little thing about it. And some people just need help molding their business. And either way, you'll get what you need to start and launch. As far as my success, I guess what things have worked for me, I'm a trial by error person. Again, I'm very extroverted, very outgoing, and certain things won't keep my attention. But if I love what I do, I'm all in. And sometimes in real estate, you can take all the classes and courses you want. Sometimes it's something about just showing people and doing open houses and actually getting your hand on a contract. It's just different. And that's how I feel like my success was from, I remember my wife was there and I got my license on my email and I started working that day. And I had a mentor. I was doing launch at the same time. So you still want to get your education, but at the same time, today is like the best day to start. And whether that's a lot of things, something really difficult, or whether that's just simply doing it, 5 notes, do 1 note, texting your friends, whatever, that you should be starting today. So I always try to stay proactive. I don't think my methods are always like how most of the top agents do. My business is built on personability. That's what makes me different. Every agent has to have something different. And my favorite quote, I still to this day don't know who said it, but it's people don't want to be sold. They want to go shopping with their best friend. And that's what I say on my website is I'm the best friend realtor that you've never had. And all my clients, it might sound cheesy, but I love my clients. My clients love me. I talk to them a year later, we text. If it's an elderly lady that doesn't know how to use DocuSign, I will go to her house and show her how to use DocuSign and then help her sign up her work there. I had a client left clothes at the previous house. I will go get them. Not everybody builds their business around that, but you have to find out that didn't say anything about how better I do paperwork or how long I've been in business or how much I've sold. That was a simple thing is that I just try to make sure my clients feel like a friend is helping them find or sell their house. And you have to find out whether you're new or not, figure out what you either do that's different or what you want to be that's different that will separate you. Because there's thousands of agents, there's 1,000 people, maybe not all of them are good, but there's probably a lot of people that can do what you do. And you have to figure out what's going to separate you that people want to be attracted to you. So that's my thing is personability, customer service is key. I can't stand agents that don't answer the phone, don't text back, don't email, that don't talk to their client for weeks, that are too good for the $50,000 listing, but will, get mad when they don't get none. I don't care what you do. If you call me, you ask me, I'll vet you and I'll make sure our relationship can work. That's what I'm more focused on. Do we blend? What you need help with, I'll help you out. So establishing rapport with your clients is key. Again, the mentor thing is key. My mentor, Louis Ortiz, we're like friends now. Not everybody has that experience from understanding when they get a mentor or whatever company. Mine was like that. And I always laugh with him is that even though our first 3 deals are over, I'm probably costing a lot of money because I'm still asking you questions. But we talk, we get a drink, whatever. I go up in his office anytime. You don't have to have that deep of a relationship, but you definitely is good to connect with somebody, at least 1 or 2, to, you can have them help you out with questions. But at the same time, hold you accountable, I do believe. you owe it to yourself to try yourself, not just ask everybody, how do I get leads? How do I get leads? You should also try to go out and get some leads and try to learn. And my mentor and my broker were really good at that, on giving me, a task for the week to do and asking me that I actually do it. And I'm going to show you how I did the contract right in front of you. I'm going to do it right in front of you, but I'm not going to give you this copy. Go home, try to do it yourself, and then come back and see how it was. So I truly feel like having a team that's around you, but also creating experience when you have none, is like really crucial in the beginning. Some of my lead sources are very weird. I remember when I was in Alaska, I think it was like a year or two ago. I was on vacation, we were visiting family, and I got a random lead from Twitter. I never used Twitter. I think I used it one time to say something about a movie just came out. And only thing that it took was just the fact that they liked the tweet, they went to see who wrote the tweet, and on my bio it said New Jersey Realtor. That's all it took. And then she messaged me, and I'm in Alaska, in shorts, having fun. And when I came back, I had a new client who closed in like a month and a half. But so, like a lot of people say, leads can come from anywhere. I think, though, at the same time, Ninja and Launch will teach you how to build a plan that, you can pick. They're going to give you a lot of different things on there, but you can pick, the 3, 4, 5 different things you want to do that you will do every day or every week, so that you can have that business consistently. So I'm really big on social media. Any social media platform, I'm on it. I don't have to have 1 million followers, but I'm on it. So my big ones are Instagram and Facebook. I believe my first deal was from Facebook. Again, I posted on Thursday. I was a realtor. I got business on Saturday. Instagram, I'm really big on that one. YouTube, I spent a passion last couple months. I've just got 2 leads in the last 7 days from YouTube, from posting home tours. So, and I have maybe 200 subscribers, not that much. So, whatever you, again, figure out what you want, not just what you want to do, but what's also working. And my first 3 months, that's what I did, is I had a mental breakdown that June, got that one client, the deal fell through, and all of July, I was just like out of it. It was like, I thought this was going to be easy. And then I committed from August till October. I'm going to try everything for 3 months and then see what works for me and what's working. And now that's the only thing that I do. Those are the only things I do. So, it seems convenient and easy when you're at home. You can do Zoom calls, and you make a good amount of money to sell a house. But it is a business, and you have to treat it like that. So in the beginning, when you're new, you don't have 30 clients. Try to use that time to your advantage to learn, create experience, and also figure out what you want to do. My business plan is changing every 2 months. I'm trying, certain things are strategic, but other things I'm adjusting based off of what I see that is working. And you should always be, just analyzing your business. So I hope I answered, everybody's question.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, David. That was excellent. And, both you and Jesse, you go out there and you ask for what you need. And I think that's just so great. And you found the resources that you need too. Launch being one of them, but your manager and your mentors and other team leaders in your office. So that's really inspiring. Thank you so much. And Patty, you were gonna take the Q&A, I think.
Yeah, so as we'll open it up now to Q&A. I know we're rounding up on 11:15, but we want to make sure that we get all of your questions and answers. But first of all, David, thank you for your service. I come from a military family, so very much appreciated. I love David and Jesse's enthusiasm and energy, and didn't quit. They didn't, I always tell people, you do 3 open houses and it's like, well, I didn't get anything from that. Well, okay, but if you continue to do them, you will. I wrote a couple note cards. I didn't get anything from that, but if you do, you will. So it's really about that consistency. And I love both David and Jesse. They did different things, and that's fine. Jesse was more the social media where, David was more the social media where Jesse was doing more the cold calling and the FISBOs, whatever it is that is your niche or what you feel comfortable with, that's great. But you need to find it. And like David said, you need to almost try everything until you kind of figure out what works for you, your sphere, your comfortability, and what is bringing you the leads. So any questions that we have, you guys can just unmute yourself and ask David or Jesse.
Can I ask Jesse a question? Jesse, how did you find all those for sale by owners? Just by like word of mouth or?
So if you just go online, and I use Zillow, but you can really just search for sale by owners in whatever area you're looking. And I typically go on Zillow, and I'm located in Atlantic County, New Jersey. So I grew up here my whole life. So even though I'm an Ocean City agent, I'm comfortable really anywhere in the county.
Okay.
So I look up for sale by owners in Atlantic County, and I literally just start calling them. Like anything new, anybody new that I haven't called, their phone number's right there. It's like the easiest, lowest hanging fruit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I had a question too. This is actually for Jesse, but however, I will say that both of you have inspired me very much. Jesse, what do you say to your FSBOs? Because I've actually tried to do a FSBO, and she just didn't want anything to do with, oh, I can't afford to pay the commission. I can't afford to pay the commission. I went to the house. I went to an open house. I talked to her face to face. I gave her a CMA. I gave her a whole bunch of literature. And 2 weeks later, she ended up listing with someone else anyway. So I'm wondering what it is that I could have said or what I did wrong that I missed it. And, you know, it could just be that she knows somebody too. But I'm kind of curious what you did to lock down your FSBOs, because I'm actually working on that right now myself.
So Anthony, that's a great story, because I don't know if you caught me saying I was speaking so fast. I know, I'm sorry, I'm a fast talker, but I've called hundreds of FSBOs and only converted a couple. So, I mean, that is going to happen to all of us, right? We're going to call people, they're going to list with someone else. I just had from an open house the other day, a buyer who I was working with for over a week on a new construction. And then suddenly the wife's cousin's a real estate agent and they want to buy it with him, you know, so like those sort of scenarios are definitely going to happen, and you cannot get down. It's so hard. Like, it's easy to feel like you just want to be depressed after that. But sometimes it's just, it could be whether the personality didn't click. She may have known another agent. Another agent may have approached her before you approached her. Or one of her friends may have said, use so-and-so. There's so many reasons. Everyone knows a million agents, right? So we aren't going to win every conversion. But the thing that I always do with for sale by owners is like, I start by calling them just because it's the simplest thing. And I call, and if I leave a message, I don't say I'm an agent. I don't say I'm a buyer. I just say, hi, this is Jesse calling about your for sale by owner listing on da-da-da property. And then when I do finally get them on the phone, one of the first things I say to them is, I'm a real estate agent, don't hang up. And I try to make it like a joke. And usually they'll talk to me. And then when they kind of put up the fight about the commission, I just explain to them all of the things that we do that they might not have realized it has to be done. And one of the FSBOs that I converted, interestingly, I didn't get right away. I helped him. He wanted to really try it himself. And I actually shared like contacts with him. Like, he asked like what title companies should he use. And I gave him like the whole book on how to do it himself. And then the deal fell through and he was like so frustrated, and then he hired me. So sometimes you do have to put yourself really out there, and it will come back around.
Hey, Jesse, can I jump in on this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say I work with for sale by owners too, and we're the same way you hit up a lot of them. I've closed maybe 3 or 4 of them. You got to contact a lot of them, because I think every lead source has a challenge. And for sale by owners, it's not that they don't want to sell their house. Like, that's why they're appealing. It's the fact that they don't want to work with realtor. They already had that mindset that they don't want to pay somebody else. They can do it themselves, or they can't afford it. So there's no, if it comes down to commission, in my experience, there's nothing really you can do to go over that hump to convince them that they want to pay that. My thing is, I think what Jesse talked about is sometimes it's just giving them help, even though it might be for free. Not everything, you're not, marketing a house or anything like that, but how she talked about giving them a little information and insight. That's worked out for me. And sometimes a sale by owner is not, most of the time, it's not a close that day. Usually I've had it where it was a month or 2 down the line. And a lot of times that's what I do. I keep it short because I already know what they're going to say. And I just say, cool, I understand you're probably getting hit up by 18 different agents this morning. I just let you know I sold something right down the street, kind of similar to yours. If you want to try it out yourself, that's fine. Do you mind if I, follow up with you in a month? And you know what? It's a risk. They might, in this market, they might sell themselves, but every once in a while, somebody doesn't. And what happens is, like in your situation, sometimes they do hire somebody else. I try to keep a plan on myself to follow up with them every 2 weeks or every month, even if the update is still the same. And sometimes that's the little bit it takes. Is what Jessie did was giving that info, but then she stays in touch with them over that month or 2 months. And when they tire out or when they're just tired of it and they really feel like they do need help, that's when you might be able to convert them. And it's a little bit easier after that point because they already saw the value in Jessie at that point. So that's my experience. I haven't closed that many of them. I would say maybe 4 or 5 of them, but usually it's a follow-up game and just give a little insight.
Excellent comments. Thank you. Any other questions? Please unmute yourself.
If I may, I'm really new to the real estate game. And I think like starting out, I don't know if anybody can, I'm pretty sure you guys can relate actually. So I've been working for the bank for 5 years now. I'm currently working there still part-time, but like my ultimate goal is I would like to obviously transition to real estate full-time. And that's a scary transition because, sometimes, in the world we live in today, we need income when we've got bills to pay and everything. So when is it like a comfortable time? Like would you say it's comfortable in your real estate career to finally be like, okay, I don't need this job anymore. Like, you know what I mean? I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, is there anybody else who started part-time and has transitioned into a full-time agent? That would be wonderful if somebody could unmute yourself and talk about that.
I'm going to jump in on that if I may. Would that be okay?
Sure, go ahead, Shirley.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to say this. I really do believe if you're the sole breadwinner or if your income is a major contributor to your family financial picture, that you have at least 3 months, if not 6 months of reserves. That's the reality of it. Now, you could be a real go-getter like David, like Jessie, and that really doesn't ensure the stability of a consistent pipeline of clients that are going to go to closing. And so the reality for me, if I were sharing it with you as a new agent on my team or my daughter, whoever, that you really need to have those reserves. Figure out what your expenses are and make sure you are saving as much money. And if you can't, maybe it's a family loan, maybe it's something. When Justine first came on board with me, I paid her to come to work. And I know that sounds crazy, but it was the only way I could do it to get her out of the situation she was in order to work on real estate. So you're right. At some point, you're going to need to really focus on real estate more hours. That's really the reality of it. But you still have to pay your bills. So that would be my 2 cents, is to make sure you've got some sort of reserves that will cover your expenses. So when you make that transition, you're okay for 3 to 6 months.
Nathan.
Any other comments?
Can I add to that too? Because girl, I was in your shoes. I get where you're coming from. Okay. I made the super scary decision to just bite the bullet and just jump in and start full time. Not everyone can do that, right? I get where you're coming from. Like if you need that money, you need that money. But something that really helped me and a very different way of thinking about it is it's not just about your income. I want you to think about what you're netting. And when I say what you're netting, it's not just money, right? How is this career gonna help change your life and your lifestyle? So no matter how much you're getting paid out of it, Is it helping you have more time with your family? Is it helping you have more time with your kids? Do you get the flexible schedule so you can go to birthday parties or family events, or, you know, take a vacation when you want to? So sometimes we have to retrain our brain to not just think in financial terms or like just money, but what else are you going to get out of it? Is this going to improve your quality of life, right? So something that sounds cheesy, but helped me when I first started out was creating a vision board. So I literally printed out photographs or, you know, whatever, and made a little mural or whatever you want to call it. And I put it on my desk, and it was my goals. It was what I wanted to get out of this career. And one of them was financial. I wanted to wipe out my credit card debt, right? That was one thing that was a goal. But the rest of the things on my vision board revolved more around quality of life issues. And it took me a couple of years, but I was able to check off everything on that vision board because I was thinking in terms of what else am I gaining? The money is great and everybody needs money, but my goals were oriented more towards how is this going to change my life and improve my life? I'm working for myself, not for someone else. And the benefit of that is that you only have yourself to hold accountable, right? You don't have to live up to someone else's standards. You don't have to do someone else's workload. It's all about you. So if you invest in yourself and think of in terms of what am I getting out of it that make me a better person or make my quality of life better or make my family's life better, it makes that mental switch, right? When you are transitioning to full-time, not as scary, I guess. So hopefully that helps, because not everybody thinks in those terms of what is my net gain, not just money.
Great comments. Thank you, Corey.
And I might
Thank
add
you
to
as
that,
well.
there are part-time opportunities inside our company. You can work with other people to help with showings and get paid on the side. You can, you know, start doing some an assistant work for people. I mean, not necessarily joining their team, but that's how I started, as an unlicensed assistant. And then I was a licensed assistant, and then I had my own client base. So there are opportunities inside our company to build things while you're still building your own personal company of real estate business. So I just wanted to point that out.
Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. That's perfect. Anybody else? And then we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Okay. Well, then, thank you guys. And that was awesome. And I love the questions. And again, our trainers are always here. And I'm sure David and Jesse, if you think of something afterwards and you want to, you know, shoot them an email, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer that. So we're a little over. Sorry, give us a couple more minutes. We just have a couple resources to share with you. So Evan, go ahead.
Great, thank you. I know we're the time is a little bit different than we expected. So I put what I'm going to say in the chat. So if I say anything too fast, you guys can grab it. But the main point of what I wanted to share as someone from the education department is we never stop learning. We should always be pushing our boundaries a little bit and finding that new thing. So we talked about the ninja that starts on the 5th of May. Sign up. If you get an opportunity to attend a Buffini class, they're great. There's a cost associated with that, but most people say they get at least 1 or 2 transactions that they can directly attribute to the exercises in that class, sometimes more, and it's a life skill. You know, it's a similar, but, you know, but also different technique to ninja. So those classes are great. The pipeline classes that we feature every week. So Shirley is doing that one she mentioned, she's doing the Jumpstart one, but those are weekly. So different techniques of building up your pipeline, different techniques of thinking about your mind and the people around you and your world, so that you're primed to receive the business that is around you. Podcasts to listen to, you know, I can't say enough great things about the Everything Real Estate podcast that we have here at Fox Roach, interviewing some of the great agents in our company, but also national stars, people who aren't necessarily in real estate. Some other of my favorite podcasts, Tom Ferry's podcast is a really fast talker, but it's a good one. The Bigger Pockets podcast, if you're into real estate investment and like building wealth and like helping investors, it's a great one. Agent Rise is another one that's very positive mindset and like helping you achieve your goals, that sort of thing. And Planet Money from NPR. Sometimes we are working in the financial field. So thinking about these bigger issues like what is inflation, what is consumer confidence, and putting it in a language that we can actually understand. So we're not just only listening to real estate podcasts, like what are the bigger issues here? And then of course, technology, try and learn one new tool each week. Cause like, that's always what I said in launch training class, learn one new tool each week and master it, and then move to the next thing. And that kind of plays into what Marianne's going to talk about next, which is that education roadmap and kind of organizing the best way that you can learn some of these tools. Take it, Marianne.
Thanks, Kevin. I know we're pressed for time, so just keep this short and sweet. So if you've taken Ninja, if you're working your business and you're not quite sure, well, what do I want to learn next? Or how do I keep moving along in my business? Because as Kevin pointed out, we're always learning and we're always growing. And one way you can do that is to go onto ACE and check out the education roadmap. It's an incredible plan for you to follow and take a look at what you'd like to learn. If you're a new agent, you can find out how to build a foundation for your business. What steps do I take next? If you're looking to grow, you're that intermediate agent. How do I learn more about negotiations? Because as we learn in Ninja, negotiation is a technique and it's something that you need to hone over time. So you can learn about negotiating. You can also learn about taking your business up a level. What am I going to do? How do I be that local community expert, that trusted advisor that we all are trying to be, right? And then next, if you're expert level, if you've been doing this for a while, there's expert information there as well. So you can also have some expert advice there with that roadmap. And there's also technology. What technology do I now need to learn to grow my business? So there's lots of stuff there. And we do have a new website coming up that's going to be easier for you to use. So stay tuned and you'll be able to take a look at that. Easy to find, everything you need for growing your business after launch. So I will hand it over to you, Becky.
You're on mute.
Thank you, Marianne. I am so happy to be here and see new faces, experienced faces, and that's the thing about resources. Our biggest resource is right in front of all of us, and the sharing that we're doing today. No one has all the answers. And I think when you're starting out, you feel that way. People want to know you care more than they care what you know. Corey mentioned she's taking Ninja several times. So come back. We have a monthly launch check-in. It's not only for newer agents. We have business building classes 3 times a month. Come back and take them, share your experiences. I think all of us are motivated by what we learned today. People talking about mindset and attitude and expectations and communication. You have to believe in you and take action. That's the key to all of this. Everybody has different ways of doing it. But you can't call one for sale by owner. You've got to call 100. You've got to get up and do your business every day. And I think the other thing about the resources is it's called Berkshire Hathaway Home Services because we are a team. You have joined an amazing company with people that want to help you succeed. But like Jesse and David, and I see Lori and so many people on this call, you have to take action. You have to practice. You have to get up and make your bed. And in real estate, making your bed is reaching out to people and doing the calls, notes, and Popeyes. And we hear people say, you keep repeating the same thing. And the reason we do that is because it works. So take advantage of the resources and remember our 2 quotes. Today is a great day for a great day, which is Ninja attitude. And to achieve excellence, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
So thank you so much for being here today, and I will throw it back to our amazing Vice President, Patty.
So one more favor I just want to ask you, and then I'm going to let you go. I've always found that if you don't actually make a commitment to do something, then what happens? Nothing ever changes. So I want each of you guys to put one or two things that you heard today that you are going to commit changing your business. Just put it in the chat real quick, because once it's written down and you told someone about it, I want you guys to do that. And if you do and you get business from it, email us and let us know. But yes, continue to learn. Being in the business for, oh my goodness, almost 30 years now, I can tell you it's never the same. Nowhere in that 30 years did we have a pandemic where we were completely shut down in PA. There's been the sellers markets, the buyers markets, the low inventory market is new. So there's always room to learn and to grow. And what Jesse and David said, and all of our trainers, is that once you just keep that going, you feel more confident. You can talk better. Your confidence is going to shine through. You're going to figure out what works and doesn't work for you. And then you're going to be able to move that needle forward to make that one little change or two little changes this week to continue to grow. So put that in the chat. Thank you guys. And we look forward to seeing you again. Bye.